We're having an important hearing today on the Social Security Administration Information Security Review. During the past 2 years, this committee has heard a great deal about PII, personally identifiable information, whether it is the Office of Personnel Management, the IRS, or the Department of Education. The federal government collects, maintains, transmits, and generates vast quantities of personal identifiable information. The National Institutes of Standards and Technology, otherwise known as NIST, whoops, I forgot to read this part. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess at any time. My bad. Without objection, so ordered. The National Institutes of Standards and Technology, otherwise known as NIST, has said, quote, unauthorized access, use, or disclosure of PII can seriously harm both individuals, and they went on to say, and reduce the public trust in organizations, end quote. NIST's assessment on the high value of PII to institutional credibility and personal privacy has been proven time and again. Perhaps no more poignantly than the data breach at OPM, where tens of millions of federal workers' highly private, highly sensitive information on drug abuse, divorce, and even their fingerprints were taken by sophisticated attackers. Ultimately, the cybersecurity battle is won as much in the boardroom as it is in the computer lab. Today's hearing will continue the committee's oversight in how federal agencies are securing America's data, and this time we're talking to the Social Security Administration. The information technology challenges federal agencies face begin with the culture and leadership established by individuals such as those we have on the panel today, from the administrator of the Social Security Administration to the Chief Information Officer to the Chief Information Security Officer. The senior leadership has responsibility to modernize the Social Security Administration's technology and harden its information security posture to protect the massive amounts of PII traveling across the Social Security Administration's systems. And the volume of data is truly mind-boggling at this organization. In short, the Social Security Administration stores the sensitive and personal identifiable information of virtually every American, living and deceased. The Social Security Administration processes, and get these stats, processes an average daily volume of nearly 150 million transactions. In the past year alone, the data center supported 1.6 billion automated Social Security number verifications, 251 million earnings items, 5 million retirement, survivor, and Medicare applications, 3 million initial disability claims, 1.5 million disability reviews, and 17 million new replacement Social Security card applications. A lot of work and a lot of good people working at the Social Security Administration. This makes also the Social Security Administration a frontline target in the information age. Of concern is how that Social Security Administration networks bear the hallmarks of poor information security, similar to those seen at OPM's networks back in 2014. Year after year, penetration testers have been able to obtain global access privileges on the networks. This year, the agency didn't even detect the attack until auditors were told about them after sitting in the network for 3 days. The majority of Social Security Administration's 127 major application databases and 19.4 petabytes of data reside on mainframes, which Social Security told testers they were, quote, apprehensive about scanning or other rigorous testing because of its fragile operating posture, end quote. It's probably not a good sign when they don't want to do testing because they're afraid of how fragile the system is. As has been proven by these pen tests or penetration tests, adversaries have been able to gain footholds into the networks, elevate privileges, and for the first time this year do so completely undetected by the Social Security Administration, at least that we know of. Our cybersecurity conversation needs to move beyond firewalls and intrusion detection systems. Advanced persistent threats federal agencies like Social Security's face are adept at bypassing those sorts of perimeter defenses. Moreover, the question is not whether adversaries are going to get inside the network, but if they can be found before they do serious damage. And that conversation about the modern tools necessary to detect and mitigate advanced threat sectors is almost impossible to have when we can't get agencies like the Social Security Administration off of these legacy technologies. We had an important hearing about this topic yesterday on the big, broad problems and challenges that we face within the federal government, and here we're going to examine a specific agency, as we have done. I would note that this committee has done something that has not been done before, and that is we have a subcommittee that is specific to the issues as it relates to information technology. Social Security Administration has been using programming language such as COBOL and Fortran and ALC since the 1970s. Over 66 million lines of that old code to support operating systems with the PII of all Americans. But I want to be fair. In spite of these facts, Social Security Administration is doing well in some areas, which gives me a sense of optimism for the security of my data, my children's data, and frankly, the data of everybody in this room. In 3 out of the last 4 years, the Social Security Administration scored at least 96% on the Office of Management and Budget's cybersecurity assessment, though the score for fiscal year 2015 dropped 12 percentage points to 84%. During the most recent penetration test of the Social Security Administration, the white hat hackers were unable to gain access to Social Security's internal systems through public-facing systems. That's the good news. And Social Security Administration was able to improve their score on the most recent iteration of the FITARA scorecard from a D to a C. There are some positive takeaways from here, but however, in the world of cybersecurity, it only takes one vulnerability, one port, one credential, or one backdoor to actually expose millions of people's information. This is one of the largest, most important organizations we have for the storage of data, and thus we felt it was important to have this at the full committee hearing today. And with that, I will now recognize the ranking member, Mr. Cummings of Maryland, who I believe where the Social Security resides is in your district. So we'll now recognize Mr. Cummings.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and you're absolutely right.